champion guitar players. I'm Tom Hess, and today I show you 5 killer blues guitar licks every player should know. Why should you know them? Well, because they're so cool and they're easy to play, or at least they will become easier to play once you watch this whole video. And you can create endless more pentatonic blues-based guitar licks from the ones that I'll teach you in this video. So they're fairly simple, but they sound awesome. So in this example, I'm going to show you a double stop with a slide and then delayed vibrato. Now, the most important part here is the vibrato. And now let me demonstrate this and I'll show you, and then I'll show you how to make this easier to play and how to get the vibrato to sound cool when you do it. So first, here's the example. Do it again. And one more time. So what's important here again is the vibrato. Now, because we're doing vibrato on 2 different strings, we want to make sure that the vibrato of both notes match. In other words, as you bend the strings, they go up the same amount and come down the same amount. Okay? Because if it doesn't match, it will just sound out of tune. It won't sound very good. Okay? So in order to do this vibrato in a way that you can keep the integrity of the parallel up and down peaks and valleys of the vibrato, take your 2 fingers, I'm using these 2 fingers, put them together like this. Okay? Don't have them separated. Put them together so it's like one unit. And then as you do that, you just turn your arm to do the vibrato. So don't do this. At least this is my suggestion. Not to do this. Don't try and use your fingers to do the vibrato. You can do it that way, but it will be harder. Okay? So to make it easier to play, these 2 fingers are on the guitar. They don't move. They don't bend. They don't do anything. They don't move. And you just torque over your arm, like turning a doorknob like this. Okay, and that will keep the vibrato parallel and consistent. So now let's hear it with the backing track in context. So it sounds really nice, it sounds really dirty and gritty, but it's actually very simple. It sounds like you're doing more than you are. And again, the key here is getting the vibrato to be parallel up and down. And when you release the vibrato, come all the way down. Don't leave the fingers or the strings bent. Make sure they come all the way down so that they're not bent at all before you bend again and then come back and bend and come back and bend and come back. All right, here is the next example. Do it again. All right, so what we have going on here, we've got a simple string bend on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. So we're bending up a whole step, and then while that note is bent, I'm using the 3rd finger here, the ring finger, to do the bending. These other fingers are helping. We've got our 4th finger, which is available, and we're going to use it to play the 10th fret of the 2nd string. Okay, so what that means is when we do the bend, while this is still ringing out, this finger is going to play fret 10 of string 2, the A note. And we want to hear those 2 notes bleeding together or sounding together. Now, while that's happening, while these 2 notes are ringing out, we're now going to they're going to pick the 3rd string, the bent note again, okay? While this is still ringing out. Okay, so it's like this. Release the bend. We got this note. And then that note. So, in order to get that gritty sound, you need to keep both strings ringing out at the same time while you release the bend. That note's still ringing out as I'm releasing this note. All right, so let's hear it now with the backing track, and we'll hear how it sounds. All right, so it sounds really cool in context, that gritty sound. It's not hard. We just have to make sure that those two notes are ringing out together to get that gritty feel. Before we go on to the next example, if you're looking for new ways to improve your soloing immediately, check out the video, Guitar Solo Lesson, Improve Your Soloing Immediately. It will help you with what we're doing in this video. Let's check out the next example. All right, so what we have going on there is, again, we're just playing the minor pentatonic scale, and we're shifting through different positions. So it begins by sliding into the B note on the D string. So sliding up to the 9th fret. Then we go to the G string, play frets 7 and 9, D and E. Then we're going to slide from E, 9th fret, to the 11th fret. So it's... From there, we go to the B string and play frets 10 and 12. Then go to the next string, frets 10, 12. Then 14, the F sharp note. Then the A note, fret 17. Add vibrato there. So on the notes on the first string, I'm playing the first finger on fret 10, third finger on frets 12, 14, and 17. Then play the 19th fret with the third finger. You could use the fourth finger if you prefer. First finger on fret 14. Then on the second string, we've got fret 17 and 15. Then frets 15 and 12. Then on the third string, 16 and 14. We've got some nice vibrato there right at the end, and it sounds really cool. And all we're doing is we're just sliding through or shifting through different positions of the minor pentatonic scale. So this is very common in rock and blues type soloing and phrasing, so that we don't stay in the same little box all the time, but we're shifting through positions that breaks you out of the box, and you can create a lot of very cool, nice melodies and licks that are easy to play once you get the hang of the position shifts and the slides. All right, let's check out another minor pentatonic position shifting lick. This one sounds cool. So as you see, we're just shifting through the different positions of the minor pentatonic scale. This is very common in blues, blues rock, rock, even metal soloing, or actually it's common in any style, really. So let me show you something that will make this a little bit easier. So once we're on the lower strings, this is pretty easy to do this. Sliding with the third finger, right? And then on the next two strings, it's basically the same thing. Starting here, fret 7. Sliding with the third finger again. Then when we get to string 2, we've got sliding up 3 frets here. Then on string 1, it gets a little bit trickier. Now from here, 14th fret, we now need to shift up to the 17th fret and then up to the 19th fret, all with the third finger. Okay, so it's important where your eyeballs are, where you're looking. Okay, when you make the shift here, at this point, your hand's in position, you want to be looking at this fret. When you're here, you want to be looking at fret 17, even when you're playing notes 12 and 14. So already be looking at fret 17. And then from there, from fret 17, you really do not need to look at the final fret, fret 19. You can see 19 from your peripheral vision, okay? If you shift your eyeballs too much, you'll probably make mistakes, okay? So it's going to be better to leave your eyes, once you're here on second string, we're in position, and we're going to be looking at fret 17 up here, even though we're going to play 12 and 14. Now we hit 17, and then we just go up 2 frets. You do not need to look at fret 19. And again, you can use your eyes to kind of follow your hands, but every time you shift your eyes, your eye has to refocus, and there's a chance you might screw it up. So try to rely a little bit more on your peripheral vision, and it will make these shifting of patterns a little easier. All right, now at this point, you've seen me do a lot of vibrato, and if you need help with getting your vibrato to sound better, check out my video titled Vibrato Guitar Lesson 10-Step How-To Guide. So for our last example, we're really only playing 2 notes, okay? But how we play these 2 notes is going to determine if this sounds really cool or not, okay? Now, I'm going to be up on fret 24. If you don't have 24 frets on your guitar, no problem at all. You just play everything 1 octave lower, so that would be fret 12 for you on the high E string. If you have 24 frets, awesome. Then let's do it up there at fret 24. So we're going to bend the 24th fret, and we're going to bend up a full step, okay? 24th fret, that's E. You're bending up a full step to F sharp. Then you hit that note again while it's bent, and then you start releasing the bend down. Now look at the notation. You see the middle note there, the second note, the 24th fret when it's hit again. You see that the bend is being released, but please pay attention. It is not released all the way down. It's only released approximately about a half step. So we bend up a full step, and when we release the bend, instead of going all the way down, so the string is not bent, we're bending up, full step, and coming down about halfway between the note being bent and the note not being bent. That's about a half step, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly a half step. That's not that important. But if you release it down only halfway, it'll sound a little bit more dramatic, at least in my opinion, from when you go to the final note, which is the D note, the 22nd fret, okay? Now, in order to make this clean, okay, so we don't have a chance of an error or a mistake or anything like that, I'm going to suggest that you bend with this finger, okay, the ring finger, and that you put your middle finger on fret 22 while you are bending fret 24, okay? So the middle finger is going to help the ring finger do the bending, okay? So here's fret 24, here's fret 22. I can use my first finger as well. It doesn't really matter where it goes, but these fingers are going to help bend the 24th fret. Now, when I release the bend and come down to the final note, the 22nd fret, my middle finger is already in position. I'm not going to try and do this. I'm not going to shift my hand down. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but you're taking unnecessary risk, meaning that if you shift your hand, especially when you're already descending a bend, you're making it harder to release the bend perfectly the way you want to and make the shift with the hand. There's a possibility you might choke off the note or you might even miss it. So I'm sure you can practice and you can probably do it with the shift and you'll probably be just fine. But if you want to make it easier and more reliable, so there's no chance of making a mistake, absolutely zero chance of error, use the middle finger on the 22nd fret and prepare it in advance, okay? Right, there's no way I'm going to mess that up. It's nearly impossible because I'm not moving my hand. The finger's already in preparation. All right, now let's hear it in context with the track. So you hear it's pretty reliable, right? We're not going to make a mistake because the middle finger is already in place. Now, you've got to do the vibrato nice. You don't have to do it the way I do it, but you want to do it in a way where that vibrato really sings so that last note, that D note, the 22nd fret, really sounds intentional and you're drawing the feeling out of the note that's there. All right, now let's talk about how to practice these easy blues pentatonic licks. So my first suggestion to you is this. Don't take the lick and play it from the beginning to the end and always do it that way. Don't, play the whole lick and then play the whole lick and play the whole lick and play the whole... I'm going to suggest not to do that. Instead, what I suggest is just to take 1 or 2 or 3 notes, that's it, of any of the licks and try to make those little sections of the lick sound as awesome as you can, all right? Don't worry about the whole thing right now. Because when you practice the whole lick, if this is really easy for you, then fine, okay? But if there's any part of this that's challenging, just take a little bit of it, work on that, then take the next little bit, work on that, then work on putting those two pieces together until eventually you've got the whole thing, okay? And then you can play it from beginning to end. And the other thing is the speed is not important here. The most important thing is the phrasing, the timing, the vibrato, the bends and the slides being nice. That's most important, because if you play slow, as most of these examples were slow, if you play slow but the phrasing is good, you are going to sound awesome. But if you play the licks fast but the phrasing is not so great, it's not going to sound awesome, okay? So if you think about players who don't have a lot of speed, but they have awesome feel. Think about a player like David Gilmour, right? Not a fast guitar player by any standard at all. But David Gilmour has a tremendous, I'm talking about the Pink Floyd guitar player. He has a tremendous amount of feel, okay? So when he plays slow, it's awesome, right? I mean, the guy sold countless millions of records for a reason, right? He's a great player because he prioritized phrasing over technique. Not that there's anything wrong with speed and working on technique and technical things. That's all cool too. But phrasing is the most important. Then work on building up the speed. So today we've been talking a lot about these easy minor pentatonic licks for this blues-based style. And one of the problems that guitar players have when trying to play faster is that when they play, they often do so with way too much tension. Okay, and tension kills speed. Now, there are 9 types of tension that guitar players typically suffer from. Some people have all 9 of these. Others have less. On average, most guitar players that I've seen have about 6, but are typically only aware of 1 or 2. And that's what keeps them stuck. So I've got a free online training masterclass. It's totally free here, okay? I got a free online masterclass called Total Guitar Playing Tension Control. So check out that class. It's totally free to you. And say goodbye to tension today and experience a lifetime of bigger, better, faster, and easier guitar gains. So in this free training I have for you, I reveal how to improve your guitar technique, speed, and fluency much faster. How do we do that? Well, first, by helping you to identify all 9 types of tension. Number 9 is really damaging, and showing you exactly how to overcome all of them so that you can finally get on the faster track to playing guitar the way you want. Now, during this video masterclass, again, totally free to you, you're going to discover how many of the different 9 types of tension you may have and then how to eliminate each one. And then actually eliminate it, or at least severely reduce all 9 sources of tension by the time the class ends. Okay? You'll experience a breakthrough during the class, not someday in the future. Okay? Then we're going to practice and play your guitar in a new way so that tension never creeps its way back in and hold you back. And there's a lot more stuff that we're going to cover in there too to help you become a much better guitar player in a faster, easier way than before. And there's a lot more other cool goodies in there as well to become a better player much faster and easier than before. So for a limited time, this is totally free to you. Okay, there's no strings attached. Go to my website, tomhess.net/total tension control. Total-tension-control. You'll be glad that you did.